Maar ja, ik ga ook vanzelf weg. Ik weet niet wel dat ik alles voor je moet. Zo belooft hij
Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. Okay, we're going to get started in a moment. So I switched to English for the live stream. Okay, gaan we zo beginnen. Okay. Welcome to this hybrix party. It's the launch party, version 1. I'm talking in English because of the live stream, because people on the internet are going to be following the presentation and a little bit of the event as well. Maar verder voor de Nederlanders, volgens mij kunnen wij allemaal hier Nederlands. Welkom. So welcome to everybody and welcome to the people on the live stream. I put a little note in my pocket because I slept only 2 or 3 hours. So I'm just going to take my note and follow it from there. And hopefully we'll get to the end of the presentation. All right, so hybrix is about being your own bank, just like Bitcoin, but also being your own economy. It's a mechanism, it's a system to be able to build your own economic infrastructure, and doing so using blockchain, but also other ledger systems, depending on which we want to integrate. So I'm going to give a little bit of an introduction. I'll be walking back and forth to the laptop sometimes to switch the slides. So my name is Joachim. Most of you already know that. And what I think is important to me in technology when it comes to digital money is that things are written open source, so they're accessible, decentralized, of course, so that there's no single point of failure, and also that they're secure. How did I get here in setting up like the whole hybrix project together with the team? It started in about 2011, and back then I was living in a small little town called De Klomp, together with Robert, who's there in the crowd. And we together started this crazy idea, which was called Internet of Coins. In the beginning, I was just getting to know the phenomenon of cryptocurrency, doing some crypto mining. And I have a picture of one of those mining rigs. And the picture is on another part. Yeah, so this is a mining rig, and you can see it has a lot of these computer parts in it and a fan to keep it cool. Now, there's already a little issue here because we're holding this presentation in an eco office, an eco building. And the idea of taking care of the environment is that you don't waste energy, right? Well, this mining, I can tell you, it wastes energy. And so after about doing this for about 6 months, I started to think about it and thinking like, well, I'm still wasting a lot of energy here just mining these coins. And I started wondering about that. That was the first time I was thinking about that, and I held a presentation about it at De Var, where Harman runs the place, and together with the community. And there they were already thinking about like, what's the environmental impact of cryptocurrency going to be? That's a separate subject for another day, but I do think it's important to mention because it's a problem that hasn't gone away yet. And I think we have to find a solution to it, especially since now cryptocurrency has become so popular. And I think we want to not just enjoy the benefits of cryptocurrency, but also want to think about how we can solve this problem of the environment. So having said that, previously, before cryptocurrency, I was already working with digital finance, but it was very different. Online, there was a lot of platforms where you could deposit some kind of money, like PayPal. But then you'd have to trust PayPal that they would take care of your money properly, and also always would give you access to that money. So, for example, if you did something that PayPal doesn't like, they could block you from accessing your account. Now, that had never happened to me, but I did hear of some situations where that happened, where banks or other institutions like PayPal would block access to finance. This happened, for example, to a well-known name, Julian Assange, who made this video, brought out this video called Collateral Murder. And, well, it talked about the US Army and what they had done in, I think it was Afghanistan, I'm not sure. But there was this video, and it was a heavy subject. But immediately, his bank accounts were closed, and he could no longer access his finances. And that kind of thing got me worried because, well, I was thinking about the banks, and I have a bank account. So how does that work? And could that happen to me? Well, in fact, it did actually happen to me because I was doing so much with cryptocurrency. Rabobank, which is one of the bank accounts I have, decided to close the bank account for several weeks, and it was difficult to get it reopened. And they hadn't, they just told me when I took them on the phone late, they said, well, we could decide whatever we want when it comes to client bank accounts. We don't need a legal precedent to close a bank account. We can just do that. So that got me really worried, and it gave me extra vigor to keep working on Internet of Coins and what is now called hybrix. So, and I brought some little toys with me because the story of these banks goes back a long way. When I was young, the first time I opened a bank account, I didn't do it because I wanted a bank account. I was, I think, about 14 or 15, and I really didn't care about the bank. I had pocket money, and it was in my own wallet. It was in my pocket. But why did I want to open a bank account? Well, they were handing out these tiny little computers, Postbank. So I'm going to open this box up. This one is called the Blue Brain, and it was a way to lure me into being, a customer of their bank. And it was actually a very smart scheme because this is a little computer which, if you were a kid in the 90s, you saw this and instantly you wanted it. You would say, like, yes, this is the computer I've always been dreaming of, So what did I do? I went to the bank. They actually had two computers. One was called the Brain Box. It was smaller. And so first I opened a bank account to get the Brain Box. And then later they came with this one. So I closed my bank account and I reopened it to get this one, right? So of course, as a kid, it wasn't about the bank account for me. I just wanted the little gadget. And my sister also opened an account, and she also got this gadget, and it was called the TalkMate. Now, the gadget that I liked could do personal digital assistant functions, PDA. The TalkMate was more geared at social people. I wasn't as social as my sister, and my sister, she wanted to be able to translate languages. So this one can translate from Dutch to English, German, French, Spanish, Italian, all without the internet. Ooh, and that's why she opened a bank account, and that's when she got one. So these toys, they lured us into opening a bank account, and we didn't think much of it because as we became students, we used the bank account. We would happily transact money over that bank account, never really thinking about the changes that were occurring. But the changes that were occurring at the time in the 90s was that a lot of cash money or physical money was slowly turning digital, and the banking system had been ahead of that curve, and they had tried to get all the young people to open bank accounts because they knew that once they had that account, and it was basically free at the time, that they would have a customer. And slowly they started making banking more and more important in the Netherlands. And now in the Netherlands, we do almost everything with banking. So much of that changed in the 90s, and that's how we got where we are today. And well, with this move, banks now have control over the largest part of digital finance in Europe. And at this moment, we can also see that the banks have discovered that there's a way to be making money out of that. So instead of now earning money on your savings, now you will slowly start having to pay to have savings. So personally, I think that shows that, at the time when I opened that bank account, it was all about the customer. And I was very happy about, opening a bank account, and, everything was being done for me as a customer. But now the tables are turning, and banks are turning into a different type of institution. So in my opinion, it's time for something new. It's time to say, well, let's take back the control over finance, in this case, digital finance, and let's bring it back to ourselves as people. I think we're, far enough now that we can do this ourselves together. So, and then banks can still have rich clients or, clients that need to move stacks of money around. But I think normal people can do without a bank account. And I think that that is the future. So now I'm going to take a little peek at my note. So yeah, that was the banks. Then for a while, I didn't do much with digital finance or that kind of technology. I worked at different places, just to earn some income. A company called Contact Care. I worked with an organization called Radically Open Security that did a lot of security research. Dabbled around in decentralized projects like RetroShare, trying to connect people to talk to each other online in a secure way. Had an own business for a while and did some encrypted voice over IP together with George, who's there. So, and then when hybrix started, we all went to work in the office of George, and it was a great time. We did a lot of, it's on the picture right there. So we had a great time doing a lot of work, implementing stuff, trying out code, trying out this wallet thing. And in that way, we started building it. So the why of crypto is not just about banks, it's also about something else. Because when I was working with cryptocurrency, I could have just said, well, I'll use Litecoin and Bitcoin and that's that. But why did we want to build something else? Now that has to do with the following picture. This guy is holding a poster or a little piece of paper with writing on it, and it says, "Mt. Gox, where is our money?" Right? And this happened at the beginning of the cryptocurrency time, I think 2010 or 2011. I'm not quite clear on the year anymore. But what happened was that there was this big online exchange. It's a little bit like a bank or a way of changing one type of money to the other, but then just for cryptocurrency. And what you could do was send your dollars there and your Bitcoins, and then exchange them between each other or between other cryptos. Now, Mt. Gox is a centralized system. So they had their own mechanism, just like a bank, to keep account of their users' funds. But what happened was that this organization mismanaged the funds, and they lost millions and millions and millions of dollars. And then there was a lot of people trying to get that back. So they all flew to Japan with the remaining money they had, and they held these signs up, "Mt. Gox, where is our money?" But it didn't get them the money back, and now there's still lawyers trying to get that money back, and it's also cost a lot of money. So the fact that we had cryptocurrency didn't solve another problem, which is that you have to be able to change one type of currency for the other. And if you have to do that, there's usually a third party involved, because you have to, you have to basically exchange something. So let's say David there has a beer, and I have a euro, and I agree with him like that I can get that beer for €1. We'll actually just have to exchange that beer for euros, or the other way around. Let's say he has beers and euros, and he says, well, if you have beers, I'll change them for euros. If you have euros, I'll change them for beers. Then he becomes an exchanger. But if he one day decides to say, well, first you have to deposit your euros and deposit your beers, and then I'll think about the exchange. But if he then runs off with everything, well, then nobody can catch him, or it would be difficult. And he's become a lot richer, so he's got this third-party advantage. And basically, you call that a middleman in transactions. And that's something that that we've always had. But I think that's also a problem that we could solve to make it safer to exchange currency. Yeah. Okay, so I'll skip through this a bit faster. What we had was in the cryptocurrency, not just, but I need to, oh, thanks, I'll give you a sign, yeah. So in cryptocurrency, we had the rise of altcoins. And an altcoin is something different than Bitcoin. So Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency, just like, for example, you have a US dollar, which is a large currency. It's got a lot of market cap, as you could say, over the whole world. And there's other currencies that are less large, and they all kind of hang on the dollar. Well, in the cryptocurrency world, it's a little bit the same with Bitcoin. And what we see is that there's this cryptocurrency that all started with Bitcoin, and then there came these other coins called altcoins. And so people want to exchange Bitcoin for another type of coin, or maybe for a representation of a coin like the euro or the US dollar. And so they have to do that using an exchange, and MTGOX was such an exchange. Okay, we can go to the next slide. So, and then there's something that makes it even more confusing. Let's say you have a cryptocurrency like Ethereum. A lot of people have heard about that. Well, on Ethereum, you can also run other tokens, and they call that a token because the Ethereum is the cryptocurrency itself. But on the system of Ethereum, you can run tokens, and they represent some kind of thing. So let's say you have a token called Coca-Cola. Then you'll actually have a stock running on Ethereum called Coca-Cola. So these blockchain systems don't just manage one currency, but some of them can actually run another amount of currencies on top of them. And this makes it much more complex and also makes it much easier for third parties to get involved because they all want a piece of the pie, and they'll tell you, well, we'll exchange it for you, no problem. But they'll always try to get something out of that. Okay, so time for something a little bit different. I have a crypto game. So what I've done is create a lot of wallets. And these are the wallets. These are QR codes that some of you may be able to scan using a phone. So I'm going to give everybody one of these wallets. And if you manage to scan one of the QR codes and log into the wallet, then just raise your hand. And then I will transfer some currency using hybrix to your wallet. And then I will also show you what hybrix is and how it works. Now, some of them are a little bit difficult to scan, so we'll just have to see if it works. It's a little bit experimental still. So okay, cool. So okay, so it worked for several people? Okay, perfect. So what I will do first is create a new wallet in hybrix, just to show you a little bit how this works. Because you don't need a QR code to have a hybrix account. Okay, so it works as follows. We have this thing called a node, and a node can have a wallet. And in this case, we have a public node that everybody can use, but you can also download it and run it on your own computer because it's decentralized. So this is the public node, and what I will do is show you how you can create an account. It's a little bit like a bank account, but then the keys that are, the PIN to your account is only yours. So it doesn't get stored anywhere, not with us or with anybody else. It's a cryptographic system. So let's say you have no QR code and you just want to open a hybrix account. It's very easy. Basically, you just go to the website, wallet.hybrix.io, or you download hybrix yourself, whatever your preference is. And then you go to create new account. So when I click that, you can see there's this window and it says to secure your wallet, we will generate random numbers, etc. Now, random numbers in a cryptographic system are important because if they are not strong, then it will be very easy to crack. So to make a strong random number, you need entropy. And here we create entropy just by moving the mouse. So it says on the instructions also that you will see dots appear. So what we do is we just move the mouse around. And right now we're creating entropy. Now, why are we doing this? Because some computer chips are not very good at doing it themselves. And so it would be easy to crack. So in this way, we create the entropy that the random number generator needs. And when it's done, your account will be created. It's that simple. So I just move a little around and then poof. Now I'm not going to use this one in real life, of course, because this account would be easy to crack because everybody can now see the code. So I will just point out how it works. So now that you've created the number, it gives you something called an account ID and a password. And the account ID and the password are actually together a cryptographic sequence to be able to access your cryptocurrency. So it's very important that you write these down, because if you forget them, we don't store them, nobody stores them. So if you forget them, you lose access to the account. So it's very important that you always remember the account that you have. Now, on the QR codes I gave you, this is already in the QR code itself. So that's pretty easy, also for the experiment. So now I click continue, and then you'll see it logs into the wallet. First it says, are you very sure you've written it down, because there's no way we can get it back? And then say yes. And then when you do sign in, then it signs in. And then you see several cryptocurrency tokens in the wallet. You can also add your own using add assets. And then you can add things like Bitcoin and Ethereum. But there's a few in there just that I would like to talk about. There's actually nothing in this wallet because we just created a new one, so it's empty. But I will show you what it does. So first of all, we have the Hi token. Basically, Hi token is just a representation of the project hybrix. We wanted to be a bit more visible in the cryptocurrency world, so we created the Hi token so that people could see that we're there, that we exist. And the Hi token also has an interesting thing about it, that we wanted to test multi-ledger technology, and Hi token exists on multiple ledgers and not just on one. So that makes it easy to use it, for example, on a ledger that uses less energy. It's better for the environment, or things like that. So you can move the token around, and it makes it easier to do that. And then using that same technology, we've created representations of currencies that we see in the world, the big three, you could call them: the US dollar, the euro, and the Chinese yuan. And with those, you can send money around. These are collateralized with Hi tokens. But for the moment, I think it's important the coming months that we use only small amounts to test if everything really works and if nothing goes wrong. But this is a nice beginning to create an alternative to what the banking system has. And it's basically as easy as being able to send around euros, dollars, and yuan, and it works almost the same way. So what I'm going to do now is log into the wallet where I have some stored, and then somebody who has been able to log in, we could actually send some cryptocurrency to you, and in that way we'll just see if that if all that just works. Okay, so my computer here is a military laptop, so it doesn't have a QR scanner or a camera, but I have an idea. If somebody who has my Telegram or my Signal sends me their Hi address, then I can send you, for example, some Hi euros there. So I will go to Hi euro, and if one of you that has been able to log in wants to do that as well, then just send your address, and we'll see if we can send you some. Yeah, this is correct. And then receive. So in this case, you want to receive some, and then you copy this one by clicking copy address to clipboard. Just you can, you can do that as well, and then send it to me.
Signal.
Yeah, for example, over Signal.
Okay.
Okay, so I received an address, And so first I will be sending some cryptocurrency to Johanna. She's my mother. And then I will send some to Harman. And if you would like to, after the presentation or during, also you can also choose, just send that on to other people. So there's a weight of responsibility on your shoulders. I'm going to send you 100 euros, and you can send everybody 10 that you meet until you have some left over. You can decide how much you want to keep. Yes, Bas. You can't swap those yet, but we will be able to do that very soon. Yeah. So I paste a target address here. Okay, now I'm sending 100 euros, and it's done. And you can see this little happy monster with a box, and he's all happy that, you know, we've been able to send something. And it says transaction ID, and then it shows the transaction and on which chain it happened. In this case, on the Tomo chain, because it's very cheap to send transactions on that chain. Okay, now I'm going to send the next 100. As you can see, sending euros on this system costs 1 cent per transaction, and that goes to the miners that are mining the transactions and making sure everything keeps working. Okay, and that was the next amount that we sent on. So this shows an example of how it works. And I think I'll show you one more thing, and then after that, we'll close the presentation. Now, sending cryptocurrency was already possible with hybrix for about a year or so. And in the past half year, it became a lot more user-friendly and easier to do it. But we've also been working on something else, which is being able to swap cryptocurrency between each other. And it uses a swap matcher system. And that swap matcher system, people can allocate funds, and then the swap matcher system will make matches between those people that want to swap. So in this case, let's say we want to turn some of these euros into US dollars. We can do so using the matcher system. So I'll give you a small example of how that goes. And then I'll have to take a little peek on where we are in the presentation. All right, let's do it. So first I click on Hi Euro, and then I click on the swap button. And what I want to do is I want to send my euros away for something else. So I click on Send, and I see these two little spinners. They're collecting data to be able to send it. And then I can choose which cryptocurrency I want to send it to. Well, I'm going to send it to Hi US dollars. So I click Next. Now, doing this in a more distributed way takes a little bit of time. And also the way we've programmed it, we can improve on that. So that's also something we're going to be doing. So let's say we want to swap 10 euros to US dollars. And you can see here the conversion rate. You can see here what fees there are to be able to do it. And then you can also see how many US dollars you get, which is 11.61. So we go next. And now it's going to create an estimate and a proposal, and then it will do the swap. So it will show you, okay, this is really what the swap's going to be. And it's a kind of a summary. And when you say okay to the summary, then it will match the swap and swap it around. So we're trying to do something in this way, just to take out all these middle institutions to see if we can decentralize it or federate it as much as we can. Okay, so we can swap it. And let's see if it works. It doesn't always work, so let's see if it works this time. So first it requests the proposal. And now it's trying to send the transaction to make a deal. And now it says swap deal activated. So I can now click on pending transactions, and then I can see how the transaction is doing. Yes, it's possible to be, we call it allocators, so that you can say, okay, I have, for example, some Bitcoin and I have some, for example, some US dollars. You can put them both in the network and then they will be swappable. And you can also put more currencies in the network and then they will all be swappable. So the currencies you add will always be added to your own pool. And that way you can create a very wide range of options for other people using the system. So there you can see it's pending, and once it's complete, then it will have swapped the euros for US dollars. So I'll click on the details of the transaction, which is a little bit more technical what you then see. It's a bit more data, but then we can also see what it's doing. Well, as you can see, it's all these little bits of text, and it says what action it's doing. It's swapping euros for US dollars, what time it did it, and what the status is, which is still pending. So I'm going to check in the wallet if it's already arrived, and if not, we'll just have to wait for 2 or 3 minutes. Yes, it's already arrived. So the swap is still confirming in the network, but you can already see it happened. So here you now see we have 11.60 hybrix US dollars. So that's the swap successfully done. So that's the crypto game. The game is just send each other as much of these currencies as you can and share the love. Go ahead.
Yeah. When there are no US dollars in the system, what happens then?
If there's nobody offering US dollars in the system, then there won't be an option to swap between each other. So there's still a lot of cryptocurrencies and types of tokens that should become available once people start allocating them. Yeah, Bas.
Can you offer higher offer for US dollars on the system?
No, this system is not order book based, but pool based. So we've tried to design it in such a way that it's anti-speculative and that people just use it for swapping and not for speculation and driving the market.
If this man desperately needs US dollars, there is no way to make it more profitable for other people to put in US dollars.
What you can do is you can, when you allocate, you can say, I want to lower the fees that somebody pays. So you can define your own fee. If you put a high fee because you want, say you're greedy, you put a very high fee, then the swap system will automatically not select you very quickly because you're offering just a huge fee. If you offer a lower fee and you're nice to others in the network, then you're more quickly selected.
Yeah, so but if there are no US dollars, if you want US dollars, you can choose the one with the very high fee.
Yes, if there's only one person offering something in the network.
In that sense, there is still a reward for people who do not use dollars.
Yeah, there's always a reward for somebody putting up something unique. Yeah, so that you can increase the diversity in the system. Okay, see where we are in the presentation, and then we'll round it up. And then it's time for just relax and drinks. Okay, there's a lot of parts of the presentation that I'm going to skip today. Because this presentation on screen is mostly for a pitch, but I don't think, we're not here to be pitched around, so let's not do that. Okay, so I still want to mention that when we developed hybrix, it's been many years since this project started. I think in total around 7. And first, I was the only one programming it, and then Robert joined me, and then we grew quite a sizable team, and then the team shrunk again. But I'm just very thankful to all these people that have helped make this possible. And there's a lot more people also outside the team, too many to mention here in one go. But we're just really thankful that we've gotten all this help to be able to make this system. And without all the help, we wouldn't have been able to do it. And so I think that's something important to mention. Also thanks to Ron, who made this space available and at a very kind price. And we're very happy that we have this space. And then I want to close with what's next for hybrix. Well, we have done a lot of development, and we've also tried to become visible in the crypto market. That has cost us a lot of time, energy, and money to do it. So now we're going to consolidate with the project. What we're going to do is we're going to scale down a bit and just make sure people can start using it. Going back to the roots of what this project was meant to be, which is just a system that everybody can use to move their value around. So what we want to do is, first of all, go from a corporate kind of idea to more a movement idea, because I think that hybrix won't thrive in corporate ideas. Then the problem will be, and we see this a lot in cryptocurrency right now, is that greed will creep in and we'll try to do everything for money. But I think we should be doing it because we want to do change. So bringing hybrix more towards a movement makes sure that people can just get involved, that they won't be doing it for the money, but that they'll be doing it because they're passionate about something new. And it's also something I've been doing for many years, and I really want to continue doing that. So I think that's an important move. We'll be consolidating the code. That means we'll be stabilizing it, polishing it. So we'll be careful adding tons of new features, but first just making sure everything works properly. That people have bugs, that we solve those things first and try working. And also we're going to be focusing on token allocations, because currently we have some swap options already, but there's a lot of cool ideas, cool cryptocurrencies also that are trying to think about real world change, and it would be nice to make those swappable within the hybrix system. And then we would like to also build something called federated fiat gateways. So right now, if you want to store euros, for example, in hybrix wallet, you still have to buy some Bitcoin or some other cryptocurrency and then move that to the wallet and then swap them for euros. What we want to do is federate the gateway systems instead of having centralized systems, that everybody can say, okay, I have a bit of euros on the bank and I have some euros in, for example, cryptocurrency. I want to offer them both as a swap allocation. And it won't be an instant swap like with the cryptocurrency that we saw here. So it may take some hours or maybe a day, but it will be possible for everybody to go on board in digital finance without having to have a passport or an address. So even tramps can just open their own bank account and then be able to become part of the financial system again. I think it's also very important that we make sure we don't fall into the trap of financial discrimination that we see happening more and more, where some people are just ruled out of the system. So that's also why hybrix has been built. And then finally, we want to also make it possible for there to be technically multiple swap matchers. Right now we have one swap matcher and it matches the swaps between people, but we think that's still too centralized. So we want to decentralize that further. So I would like to ask you to think about what I've presented today. And if you like it and want to become more involved, let me know. I'd love to talk to you to change the way we think and deal with finance and to make it more open for everybody. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Cool. Well, let's start music.
Before the music plays.
Oh, ja. Dus moeten we hem even aanzetten. Oké, moeten we hem alleen even aanzetten weer.